What is up, my fellow firearms autists? Today we are making the review that I wish had existed about a year ago when I bought this. And by that, I mean we are taking a look at my side shot scope cam. Um, Obviously, lots of people use these. You've probably seen footage through them before. But we are going to be taking a look at some of the details, some of the nuances, issues, plus sides, downsides, all that, and showing you how to set it up. So a lot of the stuff I haven't really seen before. It's been a while since I looked, but I did look once upon a time. Didn't see anything like this. So anyway, let's try and cover it and hope you like it. So quick and dirty here. What is this thing and how does it work? So basically what you're getting is a bracket to hold either your phone or your GoPro, whichever you choose. And it holds it so that your whatever device can look through this tube into a mirror that's right here. And through that mirror, you and your device are able to co-witness through your scope. Because it's a mirror, the image projected to your device is mirrored. So for an iPhone, it's very easy to go into your photos, videos, and just mirror that image. The output of a GoPro, I don't know if you'd have to put that into an editor, I'm not sure, but anyway, the image is mirrored because you are literally looking through a 45-degree angle mirror. Anyway, they make a version to hold your phone, which is what I have. I record using my phone. And they also make a separate version for GoPros. I would have liked to have gotten the GoPro version. However, this unit was 150, 200 bucks, whatever it was. And then a GoPro would be additional to 300. I wanted to keep the cost low, so I just went with this so I could use my existing phone. On that note, you will never see my phone in here because I am recording this video on my phone. Anyway, here's a little bit better angle to where you can see all the pieces that I'm talking about. So you have your primary clamp that attaches the device to your scope. You have to have room, obviously, between whatever scope geometry you have, your rings. You need a little flat spot for this, but you also have this second kind of stabilizing hook here. This just snaps on. This is screwed on and you kind of have to clock it because this, if the angle of this is off, that will throw off the angle of your bracket and your recording will be at an angle. Anyway, the first thing you have to do is to clamp this on. Hope you can see how I have mine set up. Took me a little bit, I refused to read directions, so it took me a little while to figure out how that sits. And then this piece, obviously just right next to it, you need to have this arm up a little ways when you put this on. But anyway, got this here. Got your two guides. Slide in. And it will slide until it stops on the back of your scope. So this little support I was talking about comes up here, engages that bottom threaded rod, and then you tighten these to retaining screws right here. Concern, I guess gripe number one, is that these retaining screws are not very strong. I don't know if it's the bracket itself right here or if it was the screw. Anyway, one of these, I got the righty-tighty, righty-loosey on one of these. So the other one's good, but the other one, I can only crank down about half tight because it has hopped a thread once. And obviously I was trying to be careful with this. It is not a super robust clamp there. So as far as getting this all set up, obviously you're going to have to play with getting this set on the right location fore and aft. You have a fair amount of play here. The main thing is just making sure you get it clocked rotationally left to right. Where the adjustment comes into play here is you have top, bottom, down range side, up range side. I'll show you that in a minute. Anyway, you have all these different clamps that you have to adjust correctly, and you have to get them just so that your device lines up with this hole right here to see the mirror. This isn't terribly complicated. Basically, I just loosened up everything as much as I could and then pushed up the bottom. Obviously, turn your camera on if you're using your phone. Make it so you can see through it. Push this up until it was about right. and then I pushed in on this end until I get to where I'm getting a rough picture, get these two here pretty much set, and then once I am able to see correctly through that port right there, clamp down on top there, and then you will adjust this clamp here. And on the back side, all you're doing, these are threaded rods, but you don't actually thread them all the way. You just loosen these here, slide it into place, tighten it back down. The threaded rod here is just threaded for the sake of giving the clamp more grip. Anyway, loosen, slide, tight. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Gripe number 2 here is that I have an iPhone 13 with a fairly large kind of aluminum case, pretty tough cases. My phone is long enough that this rod, this threaded rod here that it came with, was not long enough. So this here is what keeps your phone from sliding out under recoil. The gun recoils back, this pushes on your phone gets that momentum going, and without this, your phone keeps going when the rest of the gun stops. So anyway, this is very important. You also need to be careful about as you're shooting. Sometimes will rotate one way or the other. Like I said, my phone, a very common phone, iPhone 13, nothing crazy, was too big. So I had to go to the store and get a longer rod. Took this piece off, this plastic piece off of the one that they sent. Put my threaded rod through there and then double nutted it to keep this tight. So it seems like a little bit of an oversight to me, but it is what it is. Okay, so we've covered some of the quirks as far as getting it mounted, getting your device mounted. Anyway, as far as actually using it, doesn't get much better. So anyway, for my eye relief, I've played around with it, trying to extend it off the scope. I haven't been able to get it to go any further. Basically, for me to be able to see through my scope as I should, this is where I need to be. Obviously, you can see this distance here, no bueno. Like I said, I know I have a large phone, but that's not great. Under recoil, this is absolutely going to hit me in the eye. If I had my sunglasses on, I would be hitting this with my sunglasses. So what I have to do to not get punched in the face is that I have to come way back here. This is not aided by the fact that when I'm shooting, I actually like to be really loose on the gun. I like to be just floating behind it, which means that under recoil it bounces even more. So when I'm using this, I have to be a little bit tighter on the gun than I typically am to try and contain the recoil to keep this from coming back and smacking me in the face. So when I'm shooting, so normally, like I said, I'll be right about here. When I put this on, I scoot way back here, give myself plenty of space here, and I do kind of a shrug with my shoulder to keep the gun away from me under recoil. Pretty substantial difference. And of course, when I do this, my eye relief tightens up. So I'm actually seeing more black through the scope than I am actually seeing through it. So it's not great. I've used it for hunting. I will be up on the gun if I'm scanning or if I'm watching, but when I go to take the shot, I scoot back. This piece here has cracked in the nose. It scratched my sunglasses. Once you get used to it, it's not so bad, but it absolutely will come back and get you. And like I said, this piece will sometimes rotate if you're not keeping an eye on it. If you're shooting multiple shots, you have to keep an eye on that, because if this comes down and it's not there to support your phone anymore, under recoil, it will absolutely come and your phone will hit you in the face. So, a lot of this would be better if you had the GoPro, because the GoPro one is just a box that sits here and it's very self-contained. But for the phone version, not great. Anywho, that's enough yapping and bitching and moaning and all that. Let's get out to the range and let's get to the fun part. So here I am at a local shooting competition. It's not a very serious or very difficult competition, so I really use it more of a testing ground than anything. And so in this case, I'm also using it to test my scope cam. So just playing with the setup, getting used to it, doing some shooting with it. But here you can see it's kind of interesting to use it for a competition. You can kind of see the group coming together, and it's also good for if you had a shot you think you might have pulled. Was it the wind? Was it me? Was it whatever? In a circumstance like this, it's pretty easy to go back and look at the footage and see exactly what happened. It's one thing to note though is that all of the old guys who are also at the competition with you are going to be asking you what that thing is hanging off the side of your scope. So be prepared. Oh, shit. All right, I know the side shot looks like it's out of focus. It's actually not. I'm getting a ton of mirage right now. I can't see either. So yeah, not great. Anyway, 600 yards. My first time pulling the trigger on this gun in probably 5 months. Let's see what happens. Easy. So this here is definitely one of my favorite shots to have gotten with the scope cam. So I was out hunting and these deer showed up. You can see the fence post there. They're just on my neighbor's side of the property. So I couldn't shoot at them at the time. And then just a bunch of does. I didn't know if I even wanted to take the shot. So anyway, I just decided to go ahead and start recording and watch them. So this is pretty cool. I got about a 5-minute video just watching these deer walk around. One thing you can see in this clip, I think here in a second, and then a little bit in the last video, is that if you look at something too close or too far, it can throw the focus off. So yeah, going down to the ground, and you come back up. If you look down, it'll pick up what's in front of you very quickly. It'll focus quickly. When you go back out far like that, it has a hard time. Maybe it's just an iPhone thing, I don't know, but that is one of the reoccurring issues that I've had with this, is just the autofocus kind of going nuts. If you sit there and you look at something static, you're not moving around, it's just fine. But anytime you're moving around, looking at different things, or you even just bumping the gun for a second, and your range is off by 50 yards. When you go back, it could be all screwed up. So if you're trying to get good footage, the biggest thing is to be very careful with what you point at. One of the big downsides of this is that as my phone is going nuts like this, let's say it doesn't go back into focus, is because my phone is on the side of the scope, I'm not looking at the same thing my phone is, or I'm not looking at my phone, I guess I should say. If it goes out of focus and stays out of focus, I don't see that. I have no idea. And you will see that here in the next clip. So, like I was saying earlier, in this one, my phone kind of went nuts because of the weeds right in front of me, and it just never figured the focus out. I couldn't tell you why I was out shooting at night this evening, but I was. But one thing you'll notice that I never would have seen to the naked eye without being able to record this is the sparks coming off the target when you hit it. That's pretty cool. anyway, there you have it. That is my review on the side shot scope cam. I've had it for a little over a year now, and I haven't gotten to use it quite as much as I would have hoped, but I think part of that is because it's a little more awkward to use than I had anticipated, and it doesn't fit into every situation. But that said, overall, it is a pretty cool device to have. Every now and then, you'll get a really good clip, something really cool, something that really makes it worth it. Like I said, it is a little expensive, but every now and then you'll get one that'll make it worth it. So it is fun to have. If you do a lot of shooting like me, it'll come in handy. So anyway, that is all I have to say on it right now, and thanks for watching, and I will get you in the next one.